You ever walk into a room and feel eyes on you? Not because of what you're wearing, but because of the energy you're giving off. Let me tell you something. Most women are never taught. Attraction isn't about being the prettiest. It's about presence. It's about energy. It's about the vibe you give off before you even speak. And here's the wild part. A man can be across the room, barely knows your name, but still feel pulled toward you. Not because of your looks, but because of something much deeper, something that doesn't come from the outside. That's what I call magnetic energy. And the truth is, you already have it. You just haven't been shown how to turn it on. This video isn't about changing who you are. It's about unlocking what's already within you. So men start to notice, feel, and respond to you differently, without you lifting a finger. If you've ever wondered why some women walk into a space and immediately command attention, even in silence, you're about to learn why. Because once you understand what really makes a woman magnetic, everything changes. The way men look at you, the way they listen to you, and most importantly, the way you feel about yourself. So if you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting, stay with me, because the shift starts now. You might be surprised to hear this, but magnetism has nothing to do with perfection. It's not about having the most flawless body, the loudest laugh, or the most dramatic entrance. In fact, women who try the hardest to be noticed often end up being overlooked. Why? Because true magnetism can't be faked. It's not what you do, it's who you are, and how you show up in your body, your energy, and your self-belief. A truly magnetic woman owns the space she's in, not by dominating it, but by being completely anchored in herself. Her presence says, I know who I am, I'm not here to prove anything. That level of certainty, calm, not performative, is rare. And men feel it immediately. Think of someone who walks into a room slowly, confidently, without rushing to be seen. She doesn't seek attention, but somehow all the attention finds her. That's the paradox of magnetism. The less you need it, the more you attract it. You see, men are drawn to energy that makes them feel something. It's not always what you say, it's what's felt between the words. A magnetic woman communicates with her eyes, her body language, her stillness. There's a subtle self-assurance that radiates from her, and men pick up on that without even realizing it. She listens more than she talks. She's deeply present. She doesn't chase or convince, and she doesn't try to prove her worth, because she already knows it. Now let's be real, the world often conditions women to do the exact opposite. We're taught to be pleasing, to shrink ourselves, to smile when we're uncomfortable, to always be on, but that energy feels performative. It's exhausting, and frankly, it repels the kind of masculine energy most women actually crave. Magnetism is a return to authenticity. It's a woman dropping all the masks, the over-efforting, the approval-seeking, and standing in the quiet power of her real essence. And when she does that, something clicks in a man's brain. He sees her, but more importantly, he feels her. It's not about playing games or being aloof. It's about alignment, emotional, mental, and energetic. When your energy says, I'm whole, I'm grounded, and I'm not here to perform, you become unforgettable. And ironically, that's when men start leaning in, asking questions, trying to get closer, without you lifting a finger. Magnetism doesn't shout, it doesn't seek approval. It's felt in your pauses, in your stillness, in your ability to own who you are, without apology. So if you're wondering what makes a woman magnetic, it's not something you need to create, it's something you uncover. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to tap into that exact energy, in a way that feels natural, not forced. Instant attraction isn't random. It's not luck, and it's definitely not just about looks. It's actually rooted in psychology, deep primal instincts that operate way below the surface of what we're conscious of. When a man feels instantly attracted to a woman, it's because something in her energy speaks directly to something ancient in him. It's not logical, it's emotional, and more importantly, it's subconscious. That feeling of, I don't know what it is about her, but I need to know more. That's not just chemistry, that's a psychological trigger being pulled. Here's what most people don't understand. The human brain is wired for pattern recognition. We're constantly scanning for cues, social, emotional, energetic. Within seconds of meeting someone, Your nervous system is already deciding, do I feel safe here? Do I feel challenged? Do I feel excited, intrigued, or shut down? When a woman exudes relaxed confidence, not forced, but embodied, it signals emotional safety. But when that confidence is paired with a sense of mystery, a touch of unpredictability, it creates a beautiful tension in the male brain. Safety plus challenge, comfort plus curiosity. That's the sweet spot of instant attraction. Now let's go deeper. There's something called emotional resonance, and this is huge. A magnetic woman resonates at a frequency that aligns with what a man is emotionally craving, but doesn't always know how to ask for. It might be softness in a world that feels harsh, depth in a culture obsessed with surface, or stillness in a life that never stops moving. She's not just visually appealing, she's emotionally nourishing. And here's another psychological truth. Men are drawn to what mirrors back something they want to experience within themselves. A woman who's comfortable in her feminine energy, who's expressive, intuitive, grounded, unconsciously reminds him of the parts of himself he wants to reconnect to. That contrast, that emotional polarity, creates intense pull. On a biochemical level, his brain releases dopamine and norepinephrine when he's around a woman who evokes excitement and emotional reward. But here's the thing, that reward can't be too available. If it's too easy, it's taken for granted. But if it's too distant, it feels cold or unreachable. The most magnetic women walk that fine line. They're open but not desperate, warm but not overly eager. They create space for a man to lean in, explore, earn access to her energy, and that journey, that pursuit, makes the connection feel more valuable. So when we talk about instant attraction, we're not just talking about a glance across the room. We're talking about how your presence makes a man feel about himself, what it awakens in him, what it promises, emotionally. Because in the end, attraction isn't about the eyes, it's about the nervous system. And the more you understand that, the more power you'll have to create the kind of attraction that lasts. There's a big difference between understanding feminine energy and embodying it. A lot of women hear the phrase feminine energy and think it means being passive, quiet, or overly soft. But true feminine energy is none of those things. It's not about becoming smaller. It's about becoming more of who you actually are. Fully expressed, fully alive, fully connected to your body, your emotions, and your intuition. A woman in her feminine energy isn't trying to impress. She's not overthinking every move, filtering every word, or calculating how she's being perceived. She's present. She's in the moment. She's feeling, not forcing. And that's what makes her magnetic, because feminine energy is felt, not performed. When a woman is fully in her feminine, there's a natural rhythm to her, like water. She flows. She receives. She responds instead of reacts. There's a softness to her presence that invites people in, especially masculine men who are naturally drawn to that contrast. It's like emotional gravity. You see, masculine energy is driven by direction, purpose, focus. It wants to penetrate, to solve, to lead. Feminine energy, on the other hand, is receptive, expressive, creative. It inspires rather than directs. When a woman is deeply rooted in that energy, she becomes a source of nourishment, not because she gives herself away, but because her energy is overflowing. Think of the difference between chasing and attracting. Chasing says, I need something from you to feel whole. Attracting says, I'm already whole, and you can join me if you match this frequency. That's the shift. That's where your power lives. And here's the truth. Feminine energy is not about what you wear or how you walk. It's about how connected you are to yourself. Are you in your head, analyzing everything? Or are you in your body, breathing deeply, feeling your sensations, moving with intention? Men don't consciously say, oh wow, she's in her feminine energy, but they feel it. They feel it in your stillness, in your ability to listen without interrupting, in your smile that's not trying to manipulate, just express. In the way you touch your hair or lean back in your chair, not for attention, but because you're comfortable in your skin. That comfort is rare. That confidence, when it's quiet and unforced, is rare. And that's what pulls him in. Not just the image, but the feeling of being near you, like he's stepped into a different frequency, one that slows him down, opens him up, and makes him want to show up for you. Because a man can sense when he's in the presence of a woman who doesn't need to prove anything. And that's exactly the kind of woman who naturally inspires him to rise, protect, provide, and pursue. That's the pull. That's the power. And that's what feminine energy, when fully embodied, truly does. So what is it? What's the actual secret source behind that kind of presence that turns heads without trying? We all know that woman. She walks into a room and suddenly the energy shifts. People notice her. Men feel curious. Women lean in. And yet when you try to pinpoint what made her so captivating, there's no clear answer. It wasn't just her looks or her voice or her outfit. It was something else. That something else is presence. And here's the truth. Presence is not about being loud. It's not about commanding attention with volume or sparkle or trying to be the most interesting person in the room. Presence is the ability to be so deeply connected to yourself in the moment that everyone around you feels pulled into your energy without you needing to say a word. That's the secret self-connection. Most people walk around disconnected from their emotions, their bodies, their breath. They're stuck in their heads, overthinking, performing, editing themselves in real time. But when you meet someone who's fully in their body, fully in the moment, fully being, not performing, you feel it. It's rare, and it's magnetic. An irresistible presence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being real, without apology. From owning your space, your stillness, your sensuality. From being okay with silence. From letting your energy speak before your words ever do. A woman with irresistible presence doesn't rush. She doesn't fidget. She breathes slowly. She moves intentionally. She holds eye contact without flinching. She knows that her energy is enough. And that belief, that grounded self-trust, radiates out of her like a quiet flame. It's not about trying to be seductive. It's about being fully alive. When you're in touch with your emotions, when you're grounded in your body, when you speak from your heart instead of your ego, you become someone people want to be around. You feel different. And here's something powerful to remember. People don't remember what you said. They remember how they felt in your presence. They remember the warmth, the grounding, the mystery, the aliveness. That's what lingers. That's what creates impact. That's what draws men in and keeps them coming back. Not for validation, but because your presence awakens something in them they didn't even know they were missing. And the best part, you don't need to add anything to yourself to have this kind of presence. You don't need to be louder, more charming, more on. You just need to come home to who you really are. The woman who knows her worth. The woman who doesn't compete. The woman who radiates certainty. Without a single word. That's the secret sauce. That's the edge no one can fake. And once you embody it, men don't just notice. They remember you. Let's talk about the things that silently push men away. And the worst part is, most women don't even realize they're doing them. The first mistake, over-explaining yourself, constantly justifying your feelings, your boundaries, your preferences. It's not strength, it's self-abandonment. When you explain too much, you subconsciously communicate that you're unsure of your right to take up space. Men don't respond to uncertainty. They respond to clarity. When you say something and leave it there, it lands with power. Another big one, trying to be low maintenance. So many women shrink their needs to seem easygoing. You pretend you're fine when you're not. You say, it's okay when it's not. Why? To be liked, to keep him comfortable. But here's the truth, if being liked requires you to betray yourself, it's not attraction, it's self-erasure. And no real man is magnetized by that. Then there's emotional outsourcing, relying on him to validate your worth, your beauty, your decisions. When you don't know who you are without his attention, that energy becomes needy, even if your words don't say it. Men feel it, and it creates pressure, not desire. A subtle but damaging mistake. Performing what you think feminine should look like. Acting overly sweet, submissive, or sexy in a way that doesn't actually align with you. That's not magnetic, it's confusing. True femininity is rooted in authenticity. Anything else reads as forced. And men can't connect to a version of you that's not real. And here's a hard truth. Over-communicating your standards too early. If you feel the need to list out everything you expect from a man within the first few conversations, it signals fear. Real power doesn't announce itself. A woman who embodies her value doesn't have to constantly declare it. Her energy already says it all. The women who magnetize men aren't perfect, but they're real, they're self-aware, and most importantly, they lead with self-connection, not control. Because what pushes men away isn't your strength, it's when your energy feels disconnected from the truth of who you are. Let's bring this to life. It's one thing to talk about feminine energy and presence, but what does it actually look like in real moments? Let me walk you through a few real-life examples of magnetic behavior, so you can see how subtle, yet powerful, it really is. Imagine a woman at a dinner party. She's not the loudest one in the room. In fact, she's sitting calmly, legs crossed, glass of wine in her hand, just listening. She's not in a rush to speak. She's not trying to impress. But when she finally does speak, she pauses first, like her words matter. Her voice is steady, her eyes focused, and when she laughs, it's not loud, it's soft, but fully felt. The whole room leans in. That's magnetic. Now picture a woman on a first date. The man compliments her outfit. Instead of deflecting or saying, "Oh, this old thing," she smiles, holds eye contact for a moment, and simply says, "Thank you." No over-explaining, no false modesty, just presence. That small moment, that grounded receiving of praise, creates a ripple. It shows confidence without trying to prove anything. Or think about a woman walking into a coffee shop. She's not glued to her phone. She's not looking around for validation. She walks slowly, chooses a seat by the window, and pulls out a book, not for show, but because she actually wants to read. She's at ease with herself. And men notice, not because she's flashy, but because she radiates peace in a world that's constantly loud. Another example, a woman having a boundary-setting conversation. She's not angry, she's not cold, but she's clear. "That doesn't work for me," she says. And then she lets the silence land. No justifying, no over-explaining. Her tone is calm, but firm. That emotional control, paired with honesty, commands respect without needing to raise her voice. Or a woman dancing, not at a club, but in her own home, music on, hair messy, moving how her body wants to move. No mirror, no audience, just full expression. That kind of energy, when you're in your own flow, in your own body for you, creates a glow that men pick up on, even when you're just walking down the street the next day. What all these women have in common isn't appearance or charm, it's presence. A magnetic woman isn't trying to be someone else. She's just deeply connected to who she is. Her energy doesn't chase, it doesn't shrink, it invites. And in every one of these scenarios, there's no performance, just alignment. That's what makes it real. That's what makes it unforgettable. And the best part? You don't need to learn how to be this woman. You just need to unlearn everything that told you you weren't already her. Attractiveness isn't something you earn. It's something you access. And sometimes just the smallest shift in how you show up can completely change the way people experience you, especially men. So let's get into a few quick but powerful shifts you can make starting today to instantly raise your attraction energy. First, slow down. When you slow your pace, your walk, your breath, your speech, you drop into your body. And when you're in your body, men feel you. Rushing energy feels chaotic, but calm, grounded energy, that's captivating. Slow movements, intentional gestures, longer pauses between words, all of these send the message that you're comfortable with yourself. That's magnetic. Second, shift your focus from how do I look to how do I feel. Before walking into any room, don't check the mirror. Check your energy. Ask yourself, am I connected to my breath? Am I holding tension in my shoulders or jaw? Am I walking in to impress or to express who I truly am? A woman who's feeling good in her body naturally draws attention because she's radiating from the inside out, not performing from the outside in. Third, master the art of the pause. Whether you're telling a story, giving a compliment, or simply answering a question, don't rush. Let there be space. Silence is not your enemy, it's your power. Most people fill space out of insecurity, but when you allow moments to breathe, it shows confidence, it creates tension, in the best way, and makes people lean in to hear more. Here's another shift. Soften your gaze. A lot of us, especially when we're nervous, tend to over-focus. Our eyes tighten, our faces get tense. But try this. The next time you're in a conversation with someone, especially a man. Relax your eyes. Let them be curious instead of intense. Imagine you're seeing him as interesting, not evaluating whether he finds you attractive. That subtle shift changes the entire dynamic. Now let's talk about voice. You don't need to sound sultry or overly sweet. You just need to connect to what you're saying. Speak from your body, not your head. Drop your voice slightly. Let it vibrate through your chest. A voice that's relaxed and embodied is felt, not just heard. And men respond to that instantly. Lastly, remember this: your energy enters the room before you do. So walk in like you belong there, not with arrogance, but with openness. Shoulders back, head up, soft smile, not begging to be chosen, but already choosing yourself. These aren't fake tricks or manipulations. They're reminders of what you already have inside: your natural magnetism, your emotional presence, your power to attract without effort. Because the most attractive version of you isn't a performance, it's your most grounded, alive, unapologetic self. As we come to the close of this journey, let's take a moment to really feel what it means to own your power, because that's the heart of true magnetism. It's not about changing who you are or trying to fit into someone else's mold. It's about stepping fully into your own truth and showing up for yourself in a way that no one can ignore. Owning your power starts with acceptance. Accepting yourself, all of you, the light, the shadows, the quirks, the strengths, and even the parts you're still learning to love. When you stop fighting yourself and start embracing your whole being, something shifts inside. You move from resistance to flow, from fear to confidence. And that flow, that energy is magnetic beyond words. Power is not about control or dominance. It's about presence. It's about the quiet knowing that you are enough, just as you are. And when you know that deep in your bones, it shows. It's in your posture, your gaze, your voice, your smile. It's in the way you carry yourself through the world without apology or hesitation. Think about the most magnetic people you've ever met. Chances are they didn't try to convince you of their worth. You just felt it. That's because power isn't something you give away or seek validation for. It's something you claim for yourself and then radiate effortlessly. The moment you decide to own your power, you stop chasing external approval. You stop shrinking or dimming your light to make others comfortable. Instead, you create space for yourself and for those who truly resonate with your authentic energy. And that kind of presence naturally draws people in, especially men who are attuned to genuine feminine energy. But owning your power also means setting boundaries without guilt. It means saying no when something doesn't serve you and yes to what lights you up. It means prioritizing your needs, your joy, and your growth, not as a selfish act, but as a necessary one to show up fully for others. Remember, your power isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about showing up, flaws and all, and owning the story that only you can tell. When you step into that, you become a beacon, not just attracting others, but inspiring them to step into their own power too. So as you move forward from this video, take a deep breath and make this promise to yourself, to show up as your most authentic, vibrant, and powerful self every single day. Because when you do that, attraction isn't something you chase, it's something you naturally create. You are magnetic, you are powerful, and you deserve to be seen, fully and unapologetically.